Good evening and welcome to today's NoorNews Bulletin. Tonight, we lead with the escalating tensions in the Middle East following heavy U.S. strikes, and we examine the diplomatic tightrope Saudi Arabia is walking. We also bring you the latest on the devastating wildfires sweeping across southern Europe. Let's begin. The United States military has launched a series of heavy strikes against Iranian targets, marking a significant escalation in regional tensions. According to reports from the BBC and Al Jazeera, the offensive was conducted in direct retaliation for an attempted ballistic missile attack directed at American forces stationed in the region. Pentagon officials confirmed that the retaliatory strikes were heavy in nature, aimed at degrading the capabilities of the forces responsible for the initial provocation. While the specific locations of the strikes remain under assessment, the military operation follows a period of heightened friction between Washington and Tehran. Both the BBC and Al Jazeera report that the attempted missile strike on American troops did not result in casualties, though the subsequent U.S. response represents a major shift in the current military posture. International observers are closely monitoring the situation for any signs of further escalation or potential diplomatic fallout. The U.S. Department of Defense has stated that it reserves the right to defend its personnel and interests, emphasizing that these strikes were a necessary measure to deter future aggression. As of now, there has been no immediate confirmation from Iranian state media regarding the extent of the damage or the specific sites targeted during the operation. Saudi Arabia is currently navigating a complex strategic dilemma as it attempts to maintain regional stability while avoiding direct entanglement in a broader conflict between the United States and Iran. According to reports detailing Saudi Arabia's dilemma as it tries to stay out of a U.S.-Iran war, the kingdom is weighing the necessity of military deterrence against the urgent need for de-escalation. The challenge is underscored by the kingdom's recent participation in joint operations, as Saudi Arabia joins U.S. in strikes on Iran-backed militias in Iraq. This involvement highlights the delicate balance Riyadh must strike. While the kingdom seeks to project strength and protect its national security interests, it remains wary of becoming a primary target in a regional escalation. Analysts suggest that the Saudi leadership is caught between its security partnership with Washington and its ongoing diplomatic efforts to normalize relations with Tehran. The current policy reflects a calculated effort to prevent a full-scale regional war that would threaten the kingdom's ambitious economic transformation projects. As tensions persist, Riyadh faces the difficult choice of whether to continue its current posture of active deterrence or to pivot toward a more neutral stance to shield its borders from potential retaliatory strikes. UAE President Sheikh Mohamed bin Zayed Al Nahyan has held high-level talks with Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico during a working visit to Slovakia, aimed at strengthening bilateral cooperation between the two nations. According to Gulf News, the meeting focused on expanding strategic partnerships across various sectors, with a particular emphasis on economic development, investment opportunities, and technological collaboration. During the discussions, both leaders explored ways to deepen ties and align their efforts on issues of mutual interest, reflecting a shared commitment to fostering long-term diplomatic and commercial relations. The visit underscores the UAE's ongoing strategy to broaden its international outreach and solidify its presence in Central Europe. Prime Minister Fico welcomed the UAE president, highlighting the importance of the visit in advancing the bilateral agenda and enhancing coordination on regional and global challenges. Both sides expressed optimism regarding the future of these relations, noting that the exchange of expertise and resources will provide a robust foundation for sustainable growth. The talks concluded with a mutual agreement to continue high-level dialogue, ensuring that the partnership remains dynamic and responsive to the evolving needs of both countries as they seek to leverage new opportunities for cooperation in the coming years. 3 Greek firefighters have lost their lives while battling the intense wildfires currently sweeping across parts of southern Europe. The fatalities occurred as emergency crews struggled to contain rapidly spreading blazes exacerbated by extreme weather conditions. According to reports from the BBC and Al Jazeera, gale-force winds on the island of Crete have significantly hampered containment efforts, whipping up flames and forcing the immediate evacuation of several villages. Authorities have been working around the clock to establish fire breaks and protect residential areas as the heatwave continues to create volatile conditions across the region. These incidents are part of a broader crisis facing the continent, where multiple nations are currently deploying significant resources to tackle persistent wildfires. Officials have warned that the combination of high temperatures, dry vegetation, and strong winds creates a high-risk environment for further flare-ups. While international aid has been coordinated to assist local teams, the situation remains critical in the hardest-hit areas. Emergency services continue to monitor the trajectory of the fires, urging residents in affected zones to remain vigilant and follow official evacuation orders as the battle against the elements persists throughout the week. A federal jury has convicted 28-year-old Hadi Matar of terror-related offences in connection with the 2022 attack on British Indian author Salman Rushdie. According to the BBC, the jury found Matar guilty of attempting to provide material support to Hezbollah, a designated terrorist organization. Prosecutors successfully argued that the defendant carried out the assault at a literary event in New York State as a direct act of support for the group's ideology. The attack left Rushdie with severe, life-altering injuries, including the loss of sight in one eye and the loss of use of one hand. During the trial, evidence was presented detailing Matar's motivations and his efforts to align himself with the militant organization. The defense had sought to challenge the connection to the group, but the jury ultimately returned a guilty verdict on the terrorism charges. Matar remains in custody while awaiting sentencing, where he faces a potential life term. This verdict marks a significant conclusion to a high-profile legal case that drew international attention to the safety of writers and the reach of extremist influence. Authorities have characterized the conviction as a critical step in addressing the targeted violence directed at the author. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has stated that the Israeli government is actively dragging the region into a state of instability. According to Q&A, the Turkish leader emphasized that the ongoing Israeli aggression is having severe consequences, asserting that the entire region is currently paying the price for these actions. President Erdogan's remarks come amid heightened diplomatic efforts by Ankara to address the escalating tensions across the Middle East. The Turkish government has consistently called for an immediate cessation of hostilities, arguing that the current military approach pursued by Israel undermines long-term security and regional cooperation. Ankara has positioned itself as a vocal critic of the humanitarian situation, frequently urging the international community to take more decisive action to de-escalate the conflict. While Turkish officials continue to engage in multilateral discussions, President Erdogan's latest comments underscore a hardening stance regarding the impact of Israeli policy on regional stability. The Turkish administration maintains that a sustainable resolution can only be achieved through a comprehensive approach that addresses the root causes of the violence. As the situation remains fluid, Ankara continues to monitor the developments closely, reiterating its commitment to regional peace efforts while maintaining its critical position toward the current Israeli government's strategic trajectory. Firefighters in France's Gironde region are struggling to contain persistent wildfire flare-ups as temperatures climb to 40 degrees Celsius. According to reports from the BBC, the extreme heat and shifting winds are complicating efforts to secure the perimeter, forcing authorities to maintain strict evacuation orders for several communities. Despite these directives, a number of local residents have chosen to remain in their homes, citing a deep personal connection to the land and a desire to protect their property from the encroaching flames. The BBC interviewed several individuals who described the forest as their home, explaining their refusal to leave despite the escalating danger posed by the smoke and fire. Emergency services have expressed significant concern over these decisions, warning that the volatile conditions make it increasingly difficult to guarantee the safety of those who stay behind. While aerial support and ground crews continue to battle the blaze, officials are urging full compliance with evacuation protocols to prevent further casualties. The situation remains fluid, with meteorological experts predicting that the high temperatures will persist for the coming days, potentially fueling further fire activity across the region. That is all for this edition of NoorNews, where we ensure every story you have heard today has been thoroughly checked and verified before published. NoorNews, verified before published.